laugh, but y'all try to do that kind of stuff.
Interactions.
Where did the whiteboard go? They've been against the wall over there since January.
They were just covered up behind.
Yeah, I just finally got them. Someone got it down for the wall.
Yeah, so the posters there gone.
Well, I didn't put any of the posters back up from the last testing because I think they might have to use my room for some of the AP testing. And they can't have posters up for that kind of stuff.
Wait, this will be here?
Well, most of it's not for us, no, not for this one, but for some of the AP tests.
Oh. All right, the screen is for the.
Whoa. Oh, dang.
Wait, that wouldn't work without us. Okay. That's
Why is there a TV?
the fourth fundamental theorem of calculus.
Give me some light over here. That'd be helpful.
Mr. Townsend, are you also going to be at the cookies and calculus thing, or is it just Ms. Ross?
Probably just my
Let's go.
9, 18.
That's bad. I did not finish that much though. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. It was like 4. Did I finish this one?
3, 4.
I think it was 4.
The third one is only one sheet.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
No brainer.
Oh, here we go. Is this yours? Is it yours? No.
I didn't even realize.
That's the part 2. It's just this sheet.
No?
No, there was the first page too.
Yeah,
I
but we already
made-
turned that in.
we have one today.
Well, I told y'all not to turn it in last time because you didn't have
I did
page.
turn it in.
I don't see it here, but maybe check the bottom.
Yeah, I already know that.
If you already turned it in, then it'll show up at this page.
I ain't trying to get a 0. I guess it probably won't.
I ain't.
Yeah, sorry. I'm not an Aflac yet.
Yeah. So we hope you use that in your essay.
Apparently she's gonna give us our essays back today, but is that the truth? I don't know. Y'all can just.
I know, he's packed up he's packed up and ready to go. He's counting down the days.
Was part 3 only 1 page? Yes. Thank you. Appreciate it. Maybe it's secretly in my book.
One, the double circle.
Is that whiteboard for you?
This isn't part 2. Part 3 is 1 page.
Wait, has that always been there?
Do you want my part 3?
What?
That whiteboard.
Oh, yeah, you have it.
Yeah, for 2 years. Where have you been?
Joking. It's been there the whole time.
That was not been there the whole time.
See, I can't tell if he's bluffing.
He's gaslighting you.
I don't pass the AP standard. Then I got a weird.
Wait, is he actually?
I'm getting dismissed
I
on
thought that
1:30, I
was
think,
for you.
for soccer.
That's new.
Let me check.
That is new.
I think I saw it earlier, but
Yeah. Super bad.
just need to make sure that the time.
I didn't.
1:30.
That's the hard one? I think so. I don't know. My test was easy, not hard.
We all have different tests.
They gave me the wrong test the first time.
I didn't know they had this. Is this the person you were
Story.
studying?
Novel. in the past.
How do you know? I had Oh, go.
Yeah, this is some of the best ones that are gonna be on that.
I have another one this Friday, and then I have one with you guys.
My only other left is this one. So.
I've got two more.
The sun also rises, Fahrenheit 4.
Two more, and then I never have two more.
Well, I'm going for BC. So.
We need to get started.
That also has. Did you read that?
Take a seat,
So you're
please.
still not
No.
I don't have.
Okay, last call for homework. So 131 has been able to type in Google Classroom or put in Google Classroom since I saw y'all last Thursday, but I did not know 134 was not opened up in Google Classroom until about 2 hours ago. So you need to check to make sure you either put them in Google Classroom or you gave me your hard copies up here. So make sure you do that right away. If you're going to turn those in for full credit, now's the time. Go ahead. Go.
Thanks.
Okay, so we've got a couple small things to look at today. We're going to look at the orange slideshow again so I can emphasize how important it is to give your best effort and how you can, or a lot of people do fall short by just a couple questions, but nothing new there. We're going to do the handout y'all picked up, 135 topics that will be on the AP exam part 4. But as you can see, it's pretty short and it really just focuses on one skill, which is the second fundamental theorem of calculus. We're going to do another practice FRQ, and then you'll have a good chunk of time to continue to work on the U substitution circuit. I gave that to you like 2 weeks ago, and I've been asking you to try to work on it when you had time, but I've not given you a good chunk of time until probably today.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes, sir.
I didn't get my quiz back.
Yeah, I just passed back a few of them.
Oh,
I'll pass
okay.
back more later. Okay, so pass rates for FHS on the left, pass rates for my classes on the right. My classes are the only ones that I have breakdowns of 1, 2, 3s, 4s, and 5s, so that's why I share them that way. But the main thing is, notice not, 80, 90, 100% would be great pass rate, but that is just not realistic for calculus. If you guys do not study and or you do not come and give your best effort on the AP exam, you should not be expecting to pass. It is too difficult for that. If you get an easy, or you get the test and it seems easy or it seems difficult, you should still be giving your best effort because they will slide the score around. That's why the percentages for 1, 2, 3s, 4s, and 5s worldwide is very consistent. Obviously some of those years were harder than others, but the main thing is to not give up. And I think the first 2 quotes on the next slide emphasize that more than anything. Again, this is a couple years old, but if you get a low 2 and that's the best that you can do, then I'm happy with that. But if you get a high 2 and you were 3 points away from getting a 3 and you quit early, or you could have studied a little bit more, or you could have eaten breakfast the day of the test, anything like that that would help, then obviously that would be a big disappointment for you. 11 points to go from a 2 to a 4, so I'm sure that it's pretty consistent year to year. FRQs, make sure you show all your work. Even stuff you put in the calculator needs to be written down. Any explanation, justification more than a sentence is probably on the wrong track, and you don't have to simplify any arithmetic. So we'll be talking about one more FRQ today. Again, there's one page in that survival guide that tries to show you which type show up almost every single year. But from one of the lead graders a couple years ago, these were his quotes. This is not me. One is always a geometric graph, and one is always a rate in, rate out. Unlike, I don't know if you have to do you have to use significant digits in chemistry?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. So luckily we don't have to deal with any of that. 3 decimal places, always, 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 unless it says different, which I'd be very surprised. And they're very generous. If you truncate to 3 decimal places, You know what I mean by truncate? It's like you just cut off the 3 decimal places, no matter what it is. Even if it should have rounded up, they will still give you full credit. Or if you round up correctly, they will give you credit. But 3 decimal places is what they expect. And if a function is differentiable, make sure you write that it means it's also continuous, because sometimes that's needed, sometimes it's not, but it takes 2 seconds to write it down. Okay, last time we talked about passing Cal, or not having to take Cal 1 ultimately means less money and less time. The money, even if you have scholarships, you know, it still ends up being your money that you don't have to spend, so that still pays off for you. And then time, I think Cal 1 would be pretty easy for you guys in comparison to AB, but you still would have to do the homework, you'd still have to go to class, you still got to go take the test, you still have to restudy. So of course that takes a lot of time, and if you're doing that for Cal 1, then that means that's 1 less class that you take first semester of college if you're a senior, or vice versa. So good with that? Okay, anything you want to add to it today? Okay, the one I was going to add, even though y'all built it up way too much. It's a good way to meet people. If you what? In college, if you can tell people, hey, I passed the calculus AP exam, it's a good opportunity to tutor them, which means you could make money, or it's a good opportunity to just hang out with them and get to meet new people in college. Yeah? You disagree?
Yes. Yes.
Especially if you're like trying to find a boyfriend, girlfriend.
Wow.
I got 5.
I took the AP calculus exam.
Scored it.
It's not like you're gonna only date someone that did well on it, but
I mean,
No, I think so. That's the standard.
those are my standards.
you're gonna make them print out your transcript. But no, seriously, y'all could seriously make a lot of money with tutoring, and it's a lot easier to find people to be willing to give you money to tutor if you have a strong AP score versus not a strong AP score, or if you didn't pass. So, anyway. Okay, let's move on. So part 4 here, we've got just this one page, and this is going to go pretty quick. This is not anything new. So, in fact, it has come up a few times recently. But I wanted to make sure that we focus specifically on this skill, because I would anticipate between multiple choice and FRQ, probably 4 or 5 of the points on the AP exam come behind the fundamental theorem of calculus part 2. And of all skills to practice, this one does not take a lot of practice to remember how to do this. So let's look at the first one together, and then I'll give you a moment to try the rest of the first 9. And then we'll look at the next one together, and then I'll give you a few minutes to try the last one. So the first fundamental theorem, I don't feel like we need to review that because you guys do that all the time. That's like when you integrate something like this. The first fundamental theorem is knowing how to deal with this 1 and this 2. You plug in 2, get a number, then you plug in 1 a number, and then you subtract them. That's the first fundamental theorem of calculus. The second fundamental theorem is about taking the derivative of an integral. So it's not the same thing as integrating a derivative. So the way this works is, as long as this is a constant at the bottom, doesn't matter what number it is, the derivative and the integral basically cancel out. So this gets plugged in for all the variables, and so instead of square root of 2t plus 7, it's square root of 2x plus 7. Now for these, they want to know what is the derivative at 9. So if I plug in 9 here, we get the square root of 16, so you get 4 as an answer. Or 5. 9 times 2 would be 18, plus 7 is 25. Square root of 25 is 5, sorry. Okay, but you guys remember doing this, right? Derivative of an integral, as long as this is a constant, this just gets to be plugged in. So try the rest of the first 9, please. And I'm going to freeze my screen and do the same thing. And then we'll do a quick check and give you a chance to speak up. Yes, sir.
We're doing like 9 as in like 1, 2, 3 across or like down.
Three by 3. Let's give everybody an extra minute. If you were done with those 9 and you're just waiting, try the next one too. It's a little bit different, but you're supposed to remember what to do anyway, so it's good for you to see if you remember without me telling you. Okay, let's check these 9 and make sure y'all don't need to ask any questions. So 5 we did together, and then 4, 6, 9, 1, 3, 0, -1, and 1/2. So if you missed one of those, double check your arithmetic, and then if you need me to discuss it, I would be happy to. Any of those you want to talk about? Okay, then, yep.
What about number 5?
The one with cosine in it,
Yes.
in the middle. Let's see. Oh, the bottom's a constant, so that's a requirement. So the derivative would just be plugging this in everywhere there's a t. So this would be the derivative. And so at pi, well, what's the cosine at pi? -1. So 5 minus 4 becomes 1. The square root of 1 should give you 1. Pi is right here on the unit circle. Cosine's the x value. Any others of the first 9? Okay, then down to question 10, this one. So the only way this type of question is any more difficult is it's still set up the same way. I still want the derivative of an integral. The bottom is still a constant. You still get to plug this 3x in everywhere there's a t, and you're going to get something like the square root of 15 minus 3x. But if the derivative of this upper bound is not 1, you have to multiply by that derivative because of chain rule. Now it's hard to see that it's chain rule, but maybe, no, even this one, you could, in theory, integrate this, undo power rule, with u substitution, so that you deal with the chain rule, and you could plug in 3x, and then you could plug in -5, and then you could subtract those, and then you could simplify that. But then when you turn around and take the derivative of it, you basically are undoing almost all of the work. So you have to remember that, which did not happen on the first 9, but it should happen on all the rest of these. So copy that one down, and I will wait a few minutes for you to check to make sure that your others ones look okay. And again, it's not that I think this is a skill y'all struggle with or anything. It's just that I think it doesn't take but a few minutes to review. And I would estimate probably 5 points on the AP exam. Some free responses, like they don't come out and say, use the second fundamental theorem of calculus, but they would ask you to take the derivative of something like this. In fact, the bottom one on the center, if y'all look ahead at that one, does that look familiar? The bottom center one? That was on last class's worksheet. There was a mean value theorem, and it said, like, find out where the instantaneous rate of change, how many times is the instantaneous rate of change equal to the average rate of change? So you had to take that derivative for the instantaneous rate. So that's what you're basically practicing here. That's usually how it shows up as FRQ.
Do the exponents add?
Exponents would raise it to that power. So if you like plugged a 2x into a t cubed, that would be like 2x times 2x times 2x. So 8x cubed. Just go ahead and write down what you would think should be the answer, and then when we check it, you'll probably see if you did something wrong. Does anybody need more time? Okay. Sorry, I have to say pretty zoomed out for you to be able to see those, but I tried to highlight all of the chain rule pieces. So all of those are pretty straightforward except for this one on the far right. Just a tiny bit harder derivative. But same thing as the top 9, except the derivative of the upper bound was 3, derivative of the upper bound was 2, derivative of the upper bound was 2, and you have to multiply that in for chain rule. After I grade these homeworks and give them back to you guys, again, I think if you look at the very first question you practiced on last class's worksheet, it was number 88 from a previous exam. It was that exact function. And the first thing you should have done is taken the derivative of it. So if you can't do that, then you can't really work with that question. Any of these you need me to zoom in on to see a little bit better, or any of them you want me to work out? Okay, so if you don't feel super confident there,
What
make
does 17 say?
this one.
I meant 16. 2x square root of 1 plus x over 6. What is that?
Square root of 1 plus x to the 6th, all times the chain rule 2x. So when you plug in x squared here, x squared cubed, that's when you multiply. You multiply these, or you could think of this as times itself 3 times, which would be x to the 6th also.
Got it.
Okay, others? Okay, so what I was saying is, if you felt some hesitation on these question types, make sure you review this before the AP exam. Very, very quick skill to review, and being the second fundamental theorem, you can definitely count on it being on there. Okay, so next up, I would like, this is going to be handout 136. And this is not a unique handout, but I wanted you guys to get some more FRQ practice, but I felt like we have I've at least exposed you to the most common type in the last couple weeks. So on this AP survival guide, there's the one page that shows you the 6 most common type of FRQs, when they were asked, so that you could look them up yourself. And for you to be convinced that all of these types are very common. And so type 3, the graph analysis, that's where we did the 4 FRQs about, I guess it's been about a month ago now, so we practiced a bunch of those. And then like last Tuesday, I think we tried type 1, which was the rate in, rate out type of questions. And then, actually that was last Tuesday, I think. And then on Thursday, I think we tried type 2, which was linear motion or particle motion, whichever you call it. And then Thursday, we tried one that was a tables and Riemann sums. And each of those handouts had an optional one on the back. So instead of me telling you which one to do this time, I'm going to give you some flexibility and let you choose. But you should be strategic in your work. So if you feel like the rate in, rate out might be one of your weaknesses, then do the FRQ on the back of handout 128, where I gave you an optional one. Or if you think particle motion might be one that you need extra practice on, then do the back of 130 instead. If you think the tables and Riemann sums is something that you're close to making a good connection with, then do the back of 133. If all of those sound okay, then handout 124, I gave you all 6 of the FRQs from 2022, which would be obviously the best. If you just had to guess what your FRQs are going to look like, Those are the most recent ones, so those would probably be the best guess. I mean, obviously it's not going to be exactly the same or anything, but all 6 of those are very good FRQs to practice. So you could do one of the others because you've only done one of the 6 for me. Now, if you've already done one of those, if you already took that upon yourself to do that, then you've already got that done, and you're welcome to either look on another one or look at something else that's beneficial. But since everyone's probably doing a different FRQ, or very few people are doing the same FRQ, you need to follow through on the rest of it. So set yourself a timer, give yourself 15 minutes, or give yourself more if you have extended time, and then use the link to actually score your answers and see what you missed, and then actually use the link to learn from what you missed so that you feel like you could do better when you see it on the AP test.
Forgot to attach this sheet.
You need to put your name on it though. And whichever one you choose to do, you might want to put a big 136 on it because the front of it would be a different number. And so again, I'm just not trying to dictate. You should have a better idea than me at this point what your specific needs are. So take the time, try it, score it, learn from your mistakes. Hopefully that's one that you feel like you don't need to practice after this, but if you do, then you do. And then that's kind of self-paced here. And then once you finish that, which should take you, I don't know, 20 to 30 minutes-ish, then the rest of class you can work on 127, which was the U substitution circuit. I need to go grab something real quick, and then I'm going to get these homeworks put in, and then I'm going to start to pass back some of your papers. So once I start passing back papers, then y'all can call me over for questions.
You said it's like alright to do that, right? So not having to worry about
Yeah, that's what I would prefer to. If you copy all this now,
mess something up.
yeah, then it doesn't count anymore. So as long as they've defined it, or I think even if you defined it, if one time you said F of T is this step, then you could refer to F of T and nobody. try to pass back a bunch of papers today. So I know you're still working on that, but as you finish up, after you check your answers and try to learn from your mistakes and such, if you see that you have a question, just go ahead and call me over. But I can't keep up with who has school business what days, so I don't know which of you might not be here on Thursday. And I don't want to have some of these handouts that you may need to study from, so I'm gonna get all of it back to you today, plus any, old papers that you may not have been here to get back yet. I would suggest not putting them away yet, though, until I tell you to them. If you put them away, you might just put them away and then I bring you more, and then you put them away and then I bring you some more, so I would just wait. This your stuff?
Yeah.
How much space you need?
Michael's not here, so.
Again, I got a bunch more, because I have your mini quizzes from last class, plus some random stuff that may have just been asked for on the day I passed it back originally. So. you around. Why'd you do that?
Whole number's spelled right.
Always 3 decimal places. Honestly, I don't know if they would give it to you or not. Maybe if they could see where it came from and that would have given the correct 3 decimal places, they might.
I mean, I got the 3 decimal places.
I certainly don't think it's a guarantee. Always 3 decimal places.
So when it talks about the right brain and something, use this, like start on fire, use this, or
How many
for 7 colors.
Let's see, I think I got,
2,
So it's from
4, 4?
I got from 0 to 12.
this one I did pretty well.
Like
I got lucky with
four
the rubric. It only based, I had one of my limits wrong, but you only need one correct one to get the point.
What's 2? 1.
5's of interval.
Oh, so 5,
I think it's
so,
So when you're looking at these two, if it's
Okay, I
this
think I
would be
got
the height,
+1.
yeah.
This one I got
of
1
it.
out of 9.
But the length depends on if it's a left midpoint or right. So if it's left, you should use the leftmost Y value. If it's right, you should use the rightmost. So the length of the first one should be 4. The length of the second one should be 2. If I'm looking at that right.
So if this is like feet per minute, right? This is the derivative of r prime.
Okay.
So, and they want us to find the integral of r prime, right?
Okay.
From 0 to 12.
Yeah, I thought it was two.
So, this would be like our first interval 2, right? 2 times height.
This is a lot easier to do than I think what you're doing. Do you have your, when you see this is what you do pages yet?
I think.
My answer is right.
Pull one of those out real quick. Wait, here's somebody's figure.
I like that. So if I got one of those, I got
Right here. If you want to integrate the derivative, isn't that what you're doing?
Yes.
Then that's when you would just get to do this. You could just do f of b minus f of a.
Well, they want to use a right brain.
Oh, they told, that's
Yeah,
right, they told you to,
specifies.
I'm sorry. Okay,
So, wait.
so you need 5 blanks for 5 of them. Width is 2, 3, 2, 4, and 1. That would be the width. And then the height depends on what type of Riemann sum. If it's the left Riemann sum, you need the left y values. So it would be, this would be the length of 1.
So, okay, so they told me that this one is
Let's get a 3.
third. This one is 30, right? So it's here, it's 30, the radius. So can I just like
Fives out of that.
integrate these like the Riemann sum from this point on?
That might bring you to a 4.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And like,
Well, why would you? You have it,
That one's a 4 if you get that's.
like, it's just gonna be pretty simple arithmetic. You don't even have to do the arithmetic
I
to
think
finish the
it
question.
seems
So
between
why
2
bother?
and 4 it's really tough.
there's that's
I
right.
mean, to me, if it's right Riemann
I think I'm
sum,
aiming for a 4.
2 times 4 plus 3 times 2 plus 2 times 1.2 plus 4 times 0.6 plus 1 times 0.5, because I'm using the right value each time.
Okay.
And then that's all
And you're using,
arithmetic.
you're using the derivative value, okay. Okay, makes sense. Okay.
And then, yeah, and then I wouldn't even bother simplifying.
Taking a look at D, and it's said that the rate or the radius is negative 5. How did?
Yeah. Did you use your calculator?
Part D.
I don't think I got that right.
I don't know what part of it
It said right on
Why is it the
right
radius?
here that it's negative 5. How did? So imagine. I don't think that's part D. B said the highest find the rate of change. I thought he was doing part D.
How do you know either?
Okay, so. Oh, wait.
I would have gone it.
Right there.
Yeah, it's right there. They told you they were like.
You remember the product rule there?
If you can get consistent 6, 7, max, is that about?
Oh, that makes
You get consistent 6, 7. And like on 37.
It's 2 points for the angles though, so I think I get both of them.
Oh, okay.
I think 37 and 45 is pretty high.
Yeah, that's really
If you can get 6 across the board on FRQ, I think it would be hard not to get 4.
okay.
What if I got, okay, so it's 2 points for the interval. So if I get one right
I
away.
need to print this to one.
Do I have to,
So, listen, you take the antiderivative plus.
Like, all I-
I would guess it would get you one for each. You got one, not the other.
well, I didn't know, I literally didn't know that this was supposed to be for 3. I have all of this right except for, I did A grade for 3 to 8, A grade for 3 to 8. Or else I would have gotten the whole thing right. Like, I even did the plus 50.
They like tell you the value of free or something?
Yeah, well, what's the one is that? Yeah, that's GOT, so it's like, after the school. Yeah, I just make sure that.
You didn't even exist until 3, that's why we did that.
Yeah. I get that'll get to.
Let me see. I don't know. I don't know. 1.
I don't get why. I don't get why they just didn't look great. Cause I got the right answer. I said D grade, but I thought I was supposed to do grade.
I don't know what the questions are, if you have to like give me something.
I don't see any version on there.
It's not. I don't know why
On the
you're not.
FRQ yesterday, whatever was the acid
Well, to know if this is increase or decrease, you have to know that
For me.
versus positive or decreasing versus decreasing.
They ain't even taking the
Do you remember the question that had a solution, a buffer solution, and that meter diagram?
Oh, yeah.
And the pH fluid, we just did it.
I don't remember, but it was like, I think,
Right, except for I don't know if my
over?
estimation is right.
I like, it gave you the KA value.
yeah.
Yeah.
I changed KA to PKA,
Yeah.
and then,
Oh, this is.
No, what was K?
This was one of the.
I can't remember,
Was it trying to figure out which indicator, or like the indicator or whatever?
No, but I know the question you're talking about. But
No, I'm thinking that was a multiple choice.
yeah, it was multiple choice. It asked what the pH was, and I did like the
We're supposed to do like take the PKA.
PKA plus log of concentration.
Oh, yeah, I did that.
You did that?
Yeah.
You get like, you get one, you get one.
Yeah.
You get like 9 point.
Yeah, those sounds like
Yeah.
9.something.
Okay, that's cool.
So to me, the number of bananas would be like,
It was like 4.
Yeah, because it was 0 plus pKa equals pH, because it was log
Like,
of
I feel like I should still get
Yeah,
that
and I see
right,
like.
because there was.
That was the
It's
right,
like
that was the right, that was the
Less
right.
pounds of bananas on it. Like, the way I did it makes sense. I
That's
still
so
got
I
increased.
thought the FRQ was easier than this.
Yeah.
far.
I mean,
Yeah, I said
I've
it's
heard,
decreasing
I've seen
because the
stared
amount
at
of
the paper
bananas
for like
removed is
5
greater
minutes
than
trying
the
to wrap
amount
my
of
brain
bananas
how to
added.
remember like the average
you're
mass,
just restating your
average
answer, you're not
atomic
saying why
mass.
you did it.
oh,
Very
did you?
loud.
That's why it's true, because
the
it's
masses times the percentage.
greater than.
Yeah, yeah,
Mass
and
times
adding
the
them
point.
together.
It's true because the amount
The
of
one,
bananas
I think the
being
hardest part
removed is
for
greater
me
than the
was
amount
the
of bananas
soluble
added.
Okay, the
Yeah.
number,
PA, whatever.
Oh, that one.
I got A,
Uh-huh.
but
how do you find that?
I don't know, because it gives you the rate, but not the number.
It gives you the rate of what?
they're being added and removed.
Okay, so it's added.
Let me take a look at this. So
Man, I hope
David,
that-
should I show
Added
off
at a
the
certain
country
rate.
tryouts?
Yeah.
Minus is being removed at a certain rate.
But they don't do derivatives with the question. They don't take the derivative.
You've outright cross country. You don't wanna be around 5 more than you have to. I would die if I outright cross country.
Like, they don't take the derivative, they just plug it into the equations that they gave you. Which is rate. It's from the rate of the rest of the bananas and the rate of the place added to bananas.
-1, let's.
Oh wait, they're just calling this, A of T is the rate, R of T is the rate.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both rates already.
Okay, so then the number of bananas, this would if this is a rate and this is a rate, then this is a rate too.
Yeah.
Isn't that at moment 5?
So you got, like, the derivative's already been done for you, because they've already calculated the rate.
Why does number equal that?
Huh?
So the number of bananas that there are is the rate they're being removed versus the rate they're being added.
It didn't ask you how many bananas, does it? I thought it was asking you if the number of bananas was increasing or decreasing.
It does.
So you want to know something about this guy's rate, which would be this guy's rate, which I gave to you, minus this guy's rate, which I gave to you. I think what's bothering you is that these are not being called derivatives, but they're still rates. But it's the same thing, like when we say D of T is position, the derivative position. That doesn't mean we have to call it derivative. You don't have to say this is A prime for it to be a rate.
Most,
So I think that's
let's give it to German one.
that's the
Even instead of
way
the
it should
like,
be easier, like they're not making you do the derivative with it.
Yes. Well, I think it's the next one.
The only reason I'm taking Spanish 3 is because I'm not distinguished.
So, I like German.
So you're gonna take 3 and then.
Why is this a rate question though?
I plan on probably taking 4 because I also kind of want to be able to get the high literacy.
I mean, if you like it, go ahead.
I just want to get all the chords.
Why do you need a derivative of that?
Well,
Wants you to
during
know.
the
I got it
just
right, I just didn't get the explanation. of
Yeah,
the
just
rate.
like instead of I
says,
don't actually have a rope, so
find
it's
the
just
derivative of
it's a
7.
rope made of chords.
Mine's F
Yeah.
minus 7.
It would be beautiful.
It's like find F minus 7, so I put it in my calculator.
Yeah, no, that's too much effort.
I have pretty much a cape of the chords.
Well, the derivative.
I'm gonna sue them off.
That's represented.
If we want to do
I said, okay, so never mind. I think I got the units right. I didn't get that explanation right though.
And I'll be like,
It's measured like pounds per hour.
That's one of the.
Prime would be pounds
Yeah.
per hour.
That sounds like a great line.
Type is the
D
rate.
chord, math chord,
Math chord.
They said
English chord, maybe a science chord.
National honor school, are you gonna do national honors?
They
Don't do it.
said
It's horrible.
the rate at which bananas are being removed from
Why?
the table.
I don't like it.
You don't do anything.
I'm in the
You're
national.
supposed to do like community service.
Next year.
I said pounds per hour.
I'm in the math
They said
national
increase.
society. I'm going to the English one next year. I am in the Peter one. I am in the debate and Fabulous one.
Take that, 500.
No, I think so. I probably did. My point was sometimes like, you could say that the derivative is 3 or negative 3.
Yeah.
And you might say it's additive to rate of negative 3, and they might say it's negative.
That's the one we call matters.
What else will I get for German and finally literacy because it's separate chords.
Let's see,
It's already the chords.
you know, it was way too long exam on native. I didn't finish that second though. I left it short
You
because
just tie the chords to each other.
Honestly, yeah.
I get 2 of my friends to just open my chord of chords.
Walk down the stage on the big scene.
It'd be great.
I don't want to do
Let's see, what other chords can I get? Distinguished honors.
Is this not right? Maybe this is, maybe I should just have it. Oh wait, it's on the head.
One part of the super hydrated that both No, it's like you have to do this in freshman year if you're the one.
I was down that. It was awesome. That's how you know if a speech is terrible, is if they start by just kind of shouting a topic, or if they start with Oxford English Dictionary, define you. Anyway, this one is.
Did you have your hand up?
No.
Picture this.
Finish.
Dar man intro.
How you? That one.
I don't even know if videos are so good. Semesters.
I think that.
I had trouble with C, but outside of that.
I wish I was that.
Okay. Well, make sure you look back at it.
Pretend I'm organized.
I think that was like the hardest one to hear. I remember people complaining about it, man.
Which one?
How do I? Banana related.
Oh, the banana one?
Do algebra.
I missed, you know how you had to add 50? I got to add 50. So I got an 8 out of.
What do you think?
I don't really know like where to start.
You still don't, you still talk about an edit the one page. You still talk about an edit the one page.
Oh yeah, I got it. 2x. I don't
So
think
you think
so.
you need to be
Because I
good
should
at-
not have gotten 10 out of 10 to be
You would
honest.
be two.
I think he will, I think the speed is over.
Yeah, I go out.
Yeah, if we rewrote it, we would have a one sine u cosine u, so it would have to be easier for you to integrate.
So I just tried to make it as colorful as possible.
Yeah.
So that's your hint that you need a different.
Then I'm at 29.49 right now. I'm at 0.1.
Oh, it's cosine.
I think
So that like a whole packet, like a whole packet everywhere.
You usually like this one.
Yeah, 89.9.
I will work an hour after.
So that one got to 89.5, right?
Don't say that.
And that would round up to 90.
Yeah, but I have.
You just need.
Yeah, I mean, we have that little quiz.
Yeah, of course. We also have course.
So that should, I bet you'll do that.
Yeah. Also, this quiz screws me over.
That's,
I'm actually next week. Why am I so scared for the APAC exam? Yeah, but like sometimes I score good on essays and sometimes I score bad. It just depends. It depends on the class.
I brought this Peter.
Like whether I do good.
Are you like, what's his name? Your man?
Not gonna worry, my first period class, the girl here now has
Make that?
No.
You
just had it.
No, I never go to anything.
gonna act out
Online.
We are actually doing a run.
The farthest thing from wood. I need glass.
Gender bend.
Where's my phone?
I am the one character that
Glass has wood fibers.
Bro, Katie said that yesterday. Where are you getting that?
I don't know why. The guy that's
Guys, I have to pass. This actually matters. Acres doesn't matter. This matters. Don't make it underneath block. No, the sideline is sideline. I have my teacher credit. So I lose like all my I also good, but I didn't.
Finally gonna be done with
I
block
ate
notes
that
tomorrow.
My DDQ was like 4 pages.
I have still not done my block notes.
That was the first time I actually.
I just got caught up. I got
I also haven't done.
Ampeg.
I
have the notes up until 36. Which is
You have one chapter? Just go on
it's 4 chapters.
4 chapters?
36 to 40. 36 to 40. I got 4 chapters left, so I'm gonna do those today. And then we're good. I might not do all of the chapters because she won't actually care.
I'm gonna just Mr. Townsend, I'm actually the most excited for your AP exam.
That's what I did for
Like of all the ones that I'm taking, this is the only one that like I'm like okay with taking.
22, 24, 25. And AMPAC. I had to do notes for those. Yeah.
Good for you.
You abbreviate. You abbreviate.
No, I mean it.
Yeah, but if I'm writing it down in a book, I write AMPAC.
Why'd you take AP? Because I don't want to have to take a history in college.
You made A push, 5 on A push gets you
It gets you a single.
No, it's just for Arkansas.
But I still have to do the most recent chapters.
I love history.
No, like that gets me both semesters. Yeah, 5 got me both semesters.
Yeah.
I love the way she talks.
I took the flow for no reason.
Yeah.
She does say a lot. But I always she's so funny.
That's why I didn't take it.
And you only need 2 semesters, right?
She's so
For
funny.
I don't know.
Maybe for like pre-med.
Nah, you only need like 1
No,
semester.
honestly.
For engineering, you only need 1.
She is so nice. You just have to like not ask her about
That sucks.
I'm taking AP World next year.
I'm taking AP World just because it's easy.
No, don't.
No, do not take it.
Don't.
If you pass the history exam, don't take
Look,
it. If you pass A push, that's not all your
Don't. Here's the thing.
Unless you need it. Unless you
I could argue about that, but I like the way AP teaches.
I'll be with
takes
you.
all it takes all the interest.
I'm going with him.
Yeah, well, you're still learning the same stuff.
It takes all the interest of history. Because I like it.
I thought
Can't change it.
all the assignments Mr. Margaret gives you just takes all the interest out of it. Like the only thing you know about China is famine, flood, invasion. I couldn't tell you why that's
shouldn't teach us the topic.
important. 1453, fall of Constantinople. 1258, fall of the Abbasid Caliphate.
I'm not down with that.
I know the fall of Constantinople, but Byzantine Empire, like it.
Like he doesn't, like I have to go to.
I have some background knowledge of
What's 1750? 1750. What happened 1750?
Napoleon something.
The Industrial Revolution begins.
No, Napoleon was like 1790.
Quiz school. Yeah. You should know things. You should quiz
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love the fall of Constantinople because like I saw this like interesting fact when it was like the Roman Empire, because like the Byzantine Empire is technically the Roman Empire. In fact, people living in the Byzantine Empire didn't know they were called the Byzantine Empire, so they just would call them Eastern Roman Empire. But I saw this like interesting fact and it was like the Roman Empire lasts from like the turn of like
Who's your
800
favorite?
AD.
Who was your favorite?
Like all the way till Columbus. So it lasted like 1300 years.
Hi. Who's your favorite Roman? The most fun ones are Julius Caesar, obviously. Caligula.
He was a terrible person.
He was a terrible person.
Why are you saying that's your like second favorite?
He's fun to know.
Oh, you know what else is fun is the Mongol Empire. No, it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch the map of Europe, like political, and then the Mongol Empire just
Caligula was he wasn't a good emperor. He was just my favorite. Just one moment.
Was like amazing, so I know I'm not gonna go up so like. Get the 2 points that I missed back.
No, not Tiberius. That's not. Oh, it was Caligula. Okay. I think. Just 1 second. Roman. So, who's your favorite philosopher?
Probably Nietzsche.
I like. Okay, so I don't like Diogenes simply for his. It's great to. It's fun to learn about Diogenes.
What was his
Diogenes the Cynic, who's the big thing.
It's like Cambridge, of course.
It's great.
I get to set the light on 7 points this week, maybe. I hope that
I don't know. the metaphysical philosophers, they contributed a lot to philosophy. However, the philosophies are boring.
Oh, they spaced it out, not for
Okay, so my favorite is Caligula. My favorite Roman emperor is Caligula, just because he was so crazy.
Yeah.
Because he waged a war against Poseidon. You know, so he was just straight up crazy.
Did he kill someone like in his own way?
Probably. He appointed a host to be a senator.
I thought that was Julius Caesar because to show that like he
Let me check. Let me make sure.
Oh, we are?
Dang.
It's not a lot.
Yeah, what course is it?
Almost nothing.
What do you mean? Like, is it like?
Caligula. It was his favorite horse. Caligula wanted his favorite horse to be a lot of what we just spent a semester in California.
That's awesome.
We should bake a cake using
We should do nothing.
Somehow we need to get like some really complicated interval that goes like
Have you ever been to Kroger?
If you want to take it in summer school, they don't
If you
offer it.
were,
You
you had
show
a
up on your
student.
transcript as
Yes.
I think they take off the names of my cousins.
Oh, you don't grade. You're not a grader.
you would still,
Extra one?
Yeah.
You didn't get
Mr.
Mr. Townsend.
It's required for graduation, you still have to take it, it's just that it won't show up on your
Mr. Townsend.
I took it.
Mr. Margaret said that the teachers that go to where is it like? I heard in Colorado. Yeah,
Depends on how
he
well
said that
you-
they're the Disney adults of the Disney adults of teachers.
Oh my god. I don't even know what that means.
I know exactly what that means. They're adults that still go to Disney World because they are in love with Disney.
And it was
Oh.
kind of
And they're like, they haven't grown
I
up
took
yet.
honors and then I went and
No, these are people that like go every year.
They get like.
I was thinking they
more
get
like-
emotional when they see the.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that.
And they get emotional when they see the Magic Kingdom.
They get like
castle.
season passes and everything. Like
talk to your
as
counselor
adults,
now,
I
get that
wouldn't mind going to
pre
Disney
and
World
post.
for a vacation, just because like
Yeah,
it's a
just for
thing.
fun.
It's a thing. Like I'd love to go and like ride rides and see all the new
The
stuff.
people that.
But like I'm not going every single year. That's not my only vacation.
Go there and see.
I would get so bored. So fast.
Like Mr. Margaret said that like those teachers are like, oh gee, oh golly, I get to go.
Oh, yeah.
When you said that, I knew exactly what you said.
1 year.
Overly energetic about that. I'm just so happy to be here at Grady.
I'm really excited for this year because like I think next fall, me and my family are going to go backpack across the US. Yeah, I'm excited about that. So I'm excited about that. I'm finally.
Mr. Townsend, you know the video you played up that we watched in class?
No,
There's
conference to
that
go
lady,
through.
that one AP
What conference you
teacher.
going to?
I guarantee you she would just be so happy to go grade.
What country?
Oh, yeah. She's like she's like a lead teacher, so like
Down at the bottom, we're starting
like there'll be like 10 teachers that grade. She's like over them, so like when they have questions or they're not sure, she's going
we'll go
she's
to
very over here. Where is it? I told you, I think every circuit we've done this year is one.
As long
we're
as
gonna go to
you,
Rome and Greece.
I mean, some
as
of
long
these
as you don't
people,
go to possible.
like live
We're
calculus.
going to Rome
Like
and Greece.
live. No, I'm serious. There's a guy on the Facebook group, like he answers first every single time. People will ask math questions.
I don't remember.
He always answers correctly, thoroughly, and
Okay, it's like
first
first.
response every
So
time.
we're going up. We're gonna end up in Germany.
And he doesn't even get paid for it.
Yes. We're gonna pass through Switzerland and go to Germany. I don't remember what city, but we're gonna
Can you remind me how
I
to
think we're gonna go to Paris.
We're just bragging about how good
Yeah, I mean, it's Paris.
Wasn't I said I didn't know how to do it.
I'm a person with that against
I
me.
think actually specifically we're gonna go to the Louvre.
I said I'm pretty sure I did, but I don't remember anymore.
You don't even just know this.
I never said it was a waste of time.
We
Look, so I did the thing that you're supposed to.
but we're gonna go to the Louvre and then we're probably
And then
gonna
you,
go
like,
up,
do the
take
thing.
the train through the
That's
tunnel.
to the third.
And
Oh wait, are you going to Switzerland?
Still integrate.
I went to London and like got to take the trains and all sorts of
Those are beautiful.
But we're gonna go, I think we're gonna start down here, and we're gonna go here, and we're gonna go up through Switzerland to here, and then we're gonna go to Paris, and then we're gonna go up through the English Channel, go to Britain, somewhere in Britain, don't know which spot. Yeah, it's probably gonna end up in Scotland.
That's gonna be really
We're gonna like buy, we're gonna take night trains so that we can have a day in whatever place and then sleep on the train to the next place.
That'll be cool.
We've got a couple like big spots we're gonna stop at and we pull from the Atlas we see it up.
Where are you from? When did you move? What year?
So what's when that is the year 20.
So what grade was that?
I was like limited. So 11, so it's 4 years of education, right? Yes, it's 4 years.
Like a few dozen, like I would say.
Yeah.
What school did you go to? Rainy or?
Rainy was fun.
It was interesting.
Very interesting.
I was here like
It really is. That's like what mine was. That is.
people at FHS are even more.
Oh yeah.
I go by
I haven't been able to put it in because I left this one at school earlier.
I got
that page.
I have the same number of copies because I forget to take them. Alright guys, I still have some papers to pass back, so if you're missing something important, you might stop by for a minute. I got most of the trees, but they're still a few.
I'm sure that's my secret study hall.
I'm in a
quarter.
Like, you mean like you have stuff?
I have study hall 0A and 0B. Yeah, I know.
Just like the entire day.
You had 2 study halls? Both 0?
Yeah, dude.
You know what I would really love?
Like every time
If
it
I
gets
could
like
take 0 hours.
I'm like, oh my god, this is the song that Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
What movie?
For some of their cancel 0 hours.
Yeah, I was in
I would love to be able to hack my schedule more.
Man, I imagine so driving like 0 hours. You could just call in. Literally like an hour earlier. For like what?
every single day. Yeah. I leave right now.
That's a lot.
Yeah, Philip, what class do you get to next? What class are you regular? God, Rizzo or
Also, yeah. Mr. She's probably one of the best teachers.
yeah, and she doesn't get along. What you told her?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I already did.
That's wild.
I don't know about
I'll do it after.
biology, but engineering.
It's so wild.
Thursday.
So are you wanting to do engineering? Do you know like what kind?
Either biomedical
I have to do
or
I have to.
Are you going to cookies and calculus, Mr. Townsend?
but I'll be
You won't be in attendance.
Did you want to go?
Is it just Miss Cross?
I mean, engineering, that's why you do it.
I'm going to cookies and calculus, that's studying.
But if when I go, y'all just joke around.
Jump up, and get down.
We like you as a teacher, Mr. Townsend. It's a compliment, really. I don't talk to teachers I don't like.
Johnson.
I doubt that.
No, I don't talk to the teachers I don't like.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think
Why would
They usually
I?
don't talk to me, so.
Yeah, like why would I go out of my way to talk to them if I don't like them?